Torah and Horaah, Vayechi, Part 2. Truth leads to truth, falsehood leads to falsehood. Tana Dve Eliyahu writes, Eliyahu Zuta, chapter 3, that one who invests effort and becomes, even for a short time, a tzaddik who is scrupulous to only speak the truth, is sent an angel who accompanies him and helps him continue on the path of truth. And the opposite, too, is true. One who lies is sent an angel who tells him lies and drives him to continue lying. One who follows the mediocre path, lying on occasion, is sent an angel who helps him follow the mediocre path. As we find in Yirmiyahu 17:10, I, the Lord, search the heart, test the kidneys, to give everyone according to his ways, according to the fruit of his deeds. And in Tehillim, with a kind one you show yourself kind, with a sincere man you show yourself sincere, with a pure one you show yourself pure, but with a crooked one you deal crookedly. The Zohar on the pasuk, distance yourself from a false matter, explains that when a tzaddik comes to judgment, he is judged by the good inclination, and therefore will always merit in kind. And an evil person is judged by the evil inclination. A mediocre person is judged by both good and evil inclinations. The more we try to stick to the truth, that much more we will be judged by merciful angels. This explains why it is so difficult to extract ourselves from the liar's loop. It's not our imagination that one lie leads to another. The Zohar explains it on the spiritual plane. And we experience it in reality. Falsehood only results in more lies, and an effort to break free and speak the truth allows you to continue on the path of the just. Or as Mark Twain famously said, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Alternative facts versus absolute truth. The Gemara in Sanhedrin 97a writes that before Mashiach comes, the truth will be absent. The Gemara explains the word ne'ederet in the phonological sense. The truth will be adarim, separated into flocks. It is interesting to observe this exact phenomena today. There are numerous paths in Avodas Hashem. Many groups serve God to the best of their abilities and are all true, obviously excluding those who purposely warp the Torah to accommodate their desires, while often entirely different. While each tries to serve God in the best possible way, there is no one path to Sinai. So, is there one absolute truth or not? The Gemara answers with a cryptic story. Rava says, initially I would say that there is no truth anywhere in the world. There was a certain one of the sages, and Rav Tavut is his name. And some say Rav Tavyomi is his name, who was so honest that if they were to give him the entire world, he would not deviate from the truth. He said to me, one time I happened to come to a certain place, and truth is its name, and its residents would not deviate from the truth in their statements, and no one from there would die prematurely. I married a woman from among them, and I had 2 sons from her. One day, my wife was sitting and washing her hair. Our neighbor came and knocked at the door. I thought, it is not proper conduct to tell the neighbor that my wife is bathing. I said to her, she is not here. Since I deviated from the truth, my 2 sons died. The people residing in that place came before me and said, what is the meaning of this? I said to them, this was what happened. I told them the story. They said to me, please leave our place and do not provoke premature death upon us. If only we'd stick to the whole and absolute truth, life would be lived to the fullest. An example of an occasion in which lying was necessary appears in the Gemara, Rosh Hashanah 22b. Once the Bathusians tried to mislead the sages regarding the day of the new moon. They hired 2 people for 400 dinar to testify falsely that they had seen the new moon on the 30th day of the month. One of them was actually a member of the Pharisees and connected to the sages, while the other was one of theirs. While they went in to testify, their witness submitted his testimony that he had seen the new moon. Then he left. When our witnesses came to testify, they said to him, in the customary manner, describe how you saw the new moon. He said to them, I was ascending in Ma'ale Adumim, and I saw that the new moon was crouched between two rocks. Its head was like that of a calf, its ears were like those of a kid, its horns were like those of a deer, and its tail was lying between its thighs. And I looked at it and was frightened, and I fell backward. If you do not believe me that this is what I saw, there are 200 dinars wrapped in my cloak that were paid to me to deliver this testimony. Realizing that the testimony of the first witness was also false, the sages said to him, who persuaded you to act in this manner? He said to them, I heard that the Bathusians were seeking to mislead the sages, and I said to myself, I will go and hire myself out to give false testimony, and I will inform the sages of the truth, lest unworthy people come to mislead the sages. The sages said to him, the 200 dinars that you received from the Bathusians are given to you as a gift. Although you did not carry out your mission, the court is authorized to declare the money ownerless and award it to you, and the one who hired you shall be stretched out on the post for flogging. The man had positive intentions. He wanted to save the sages from accepting a false witness. In hiring himself for the job, he was forced to testify falsely, itself a forbidden action. He satisfied his dilemma by testifying nonsense. Since those who hired him didn't require him to give a sensible testimony, he was free to make up whatever he wanted. He wasn't liable of testifying falsely in court, since nonsense is not a false testimony. Neither was he guilty of intentionally failing his mission. Apparently, here his behavior was commendable, despite the lie it involved. From the Psukim, only the truth, even when lying is possible. From the Psukim mentioned at the beginning of this article, the Gemara learns in Yevamos 65b that lying for the sake of peace is permitted. The Gemara, though, doesn't use the term lying here, but rather changing for the sake of peace. Why? The Aruch Laner in Yevamos 65b, Ben Ish Chai there, and Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld explain that the brothers didn't actually lie. They just changed the truth to preserve peace. This explains Aruch Laner, is not only a semantic difference. The brothers sent a message through an emissary to tell Yosef what Yaakov had stated before his death. The pasuk states, and Yaakov concluded, commanding his sons, Bereshit 49:33. Then they added the request that he forgive his brothers. That the way it was presented made Yosef understand that both requests were part of one sentence said by Yaakov, although the messengers were directed to say it in two separate sentences. The prohibition here was not the violation of the positive mitzvah of distance yourself from false matter, but of genevas das, creating a false impression. In his opinion, direct lying remains forbidden even when used to preserve peace, and even where the listener will not incur any financial loss or damage. Only creating a false impression is permitted for this end. The Ben Ish Chai and Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld explain that Yaakov did indeed demand the brothers gather and listen, sons of Yaakov, Bereshit 49:2. He did actually ask that they join together and live in peace and harmony. While it was surely their father's wish for Yosef to forgive his brothers, and therefore not a blatant lie, it is not the absolute truth either, but rather a changed one. Even when forced to doctor up the truth in order to preserve peace, we must always remember what the actual truth is, and that deviating from it is temporary. When no longer necessary, the truth must reign, so that as not to make lying a habit. Summary. In addition to the prohibition to lie and the transgression lying involves, the one who routinely tells lies loses his sense of right and wrong, even when forced to lie. One must do everything to keep sight of the truth. Next week, we will print the third and final installment of this topic.